So here is my text blocking sketch and then my type design on top of it. All of this is done in Photopea. Some of them are modified typefaces, right? And some of them are just drawn with a lasso, and some of them are drawn with a brush, and some of them are a mix between. What I need to do now is turn off everything else. There are certain things I can just delete that I don't need. Well, I'll leave it there for now, but I'm going to mark them as red so I don't accidentally turn them on later. And these were alternative text blocking versions. Okay, I'm going to turn off my spot illustration. I'm going to label that, which is its own smart object. I'm going to turn off my white and my gray background. And I'm going to turn off my text blocking sketches, which I should probably just all put into one folder too. This is the project that will get to be over a gig big, sometimes 2 gigs large. But we're not there yet. Okay. So now with everything turned off, whoops, except, there we go. It's just my black shapes. Now I'm going to save it as a test file, export it just as a PNG. And I call it a test file because it's one I don't need to keep, and it can be distracting and hard to tell what it is. This is going to get me to my vector file. So it's my test file. It goes to downloads. From there, I'm going to open that in Adobe Illustrator. Just like we've done with our black shape logo designs, just like we did with our black line art for our illustrations. Once it's in Illustrator, what do I need to do? We've done this a few times because there's no free way, unfortunately, to vectorize. So we're going to turn it into a vector. Not because it wasn't good and at full resolution. It was good and it was at full resolution. It's just so that we have type design in a super flexible format, just like our line art, just like our logos. And that most flexible format for black shapes is a vector. So once it's on the artboard, you go to Properties. You go to, not Preferences. What am I looking for? I got to click on it. Okay, and then you get Image Trace. Image Trace options, we use black and white logo. That's the only one I recommend. And then we're going to look at the advanced options. And on the advanced options, we have to turn off the white background by ignoring the color. And then we can decide if we want to play with these to kind of smooth it out or to simplify it. But because I designed this all digitally, all of that is going to come through perfectly in the vector. And I hit expand. And now it is a vector. Ooh. Right. So I make sure it's on the white artboard, and then I save it in 3 vector formats. First, I save it as an AI, and I'm going to call it FA242, that's just for me, Karl, assignment 6, black vector type. It's going to go to downloads as an AI. Now I want to save it as the transferable vector formats. So I say File, Save a Copy, and I save it as an SVG, a scalable vector graphic. That's what's going to go into Photopea. You can't bring an AI file into Photopea. And then I'm going to save it as the type that works best with Adobe Photoshop, which is an Adobe vector transferable format. Save a copy. All 3 formats are up on the whiteboard. They're easy to forget. This helps you remember. And that is EPS. Now, I mark all of those purple and move them into my folder. And this is going to be into my assignment 6 folder. They're all in downloads right now. EPS SVG AI. I don't need to save that test file. I can, but I don't need to. The files that are necessary are the ones that have your name in them. And I move them all into my assignment 6 folder. Now they're purple, not orange, because I can't put this onto Canvas to turn in my black vector line art, or not line art, type. But what I can do is I can bring them into my poster. And the one I can bring into Photopea is the SVG. So I drag and drop it so it comes in as a smart object. Come on. I drag and drop it so it comes in as a smart object. There we go. And then I have to size it. Remember, it's a vector, so it can be any size I want. I'm going to hold down Option and just grow it. And the nice thing is I have my blocking behind to show me exactly where it should go. But it also allows me to mess with it a little bit. So as long as it stays a smart object, it will always be perfectly clean. So let me turn on my type design. And let me take it down a little bit, right? This could be a good way to get a drop shadow effect. But now just let me get my vector type to line up with it. Really close. There we go. Okay, now what do I do? So now I can decide, do I want the spot illustration on top of it or not? I think I do. Right? And now I'm going to turn off the type design that's behind. So I just have the vector. And now I'm going to turn this in. So first I save it as a PSD that updates the one I'm working on, because this is where I'll now add color to my type design, behind it, on top of it, around it, and a color background. But I also am going to save it as a JPEG, or even better yet, make it big on the screen, and I'm going to do a targeted screen grab of it. And I have to take your word for it, since you can't put a vector onto Canvas, that this is your vector black line art. And you can tell by how clean it is, right? And that saves a little memory on Canvas for me, so I can save my big file for my final poster. So this will be for my black vector type, and then I drag and drop it in. So I have to find it. Where's my screen grab? There it is. Now what matters is the PSD, right, in your assignment 6 folder. This is where we have now included the vector file for the type. Make it a little bit smaller. And when I screen grabbed, I grabbed a little bit of that black background of Photopea, so you can see exactly the proportions that I have right now of the borders and the type. And I don't love the tangency at the T. That might be something I work with a little bit when I color it. But you can see how the idea is formed, and then you work with the text blocking, and then as you design it, it might get stronger and stronger. You hope it does. Your decisions become more and more clear, especially if your type is going to be as prominent in the poster as my demo's type ended up being. And that's it for now. What's left? Where do we go from here? We do a color version, and then we do a textured colored background. And then that creates our finished poster. All right.